Welcome back to Jay's Fish, and this is why people are never doing water changes in their fish tank. With the current time, people are tending to get smaller tanks, and I'm not necessarily meaning nano tanks. This is a good size 10 gallon, and it's going to be a planted 10 gallon, but people are watching a lot more of these aquascaping videos rather than these giant tank videos, in my opinion. And it's because people love that nature look versus, a giant fish tank. And also it's because of what they can afford. And the reason why people aren't doing water changes anymore is because they are planting it heavily. This is some dwarf water lettuce, and that's going to be my floater. I'm not trying to have any duckweed in the tank that it's going to take over. So I have only dwarf water lettuce, and that is going to pretty much in a few weeks, that's going to take over the tank and provide a lot more, benefit for the tank versus these other plants, just because they have that exposure to oxygen, and they can pull it directly from the surface, and they have the roots dipped in, so they're going to be growing extra fast versus these plants. This is fairly new sand. I mixed it with some used gravel from an old tank, so it has some nutrients, but they're not going to grow as fast. They're just going to maintain and survive. which is good, which is what we want. But as time goes on, they are going to need more nutrients, and that's why we have fish, and that's why we're going to put shrimp in there. And with the moss, it feeds from the water column, so it's also like the floater, but it just feeds from the water column, and this one takes a little bit of time. I've been researching about moss, and they said it does take a little bit. We've gone back from the dieback, in my opinion. It was a lot more brown a few days ago, but now it's getting green. See, there are some patches green, and we're just waiting for that to liven up. But a lot of these plants have just been maintaining and surviving. Because I have these plants growing and so much of it, I can cut back my water changes, to every other week, I'm thinking. And possibly once, I get more floaters in there, it's going to be once a month. And once it becomes once a month and these walls become a lot more greener, I would feel more comfortable putting in shrimp. And then with feeding, I don't feed them too much. I feed them a tiny pinch. There's only three adults and 4 fry, so I only feed them a tiny pinch a day, and even still, that's kind of pushing it. Just because there's no cleanup crew. There's really nothing in the tank besides them. I'm still cycling it technically. It's still week 2. But I do a little, like 5-10% water change a week, to clean out all the bottom stuffs, all the decay. And these guys have been pretty good and thriving. So as long as you can balance out everything, I think you can kind of find a good ecosystem, meaning where the plants eat up the nasties, the nasties that the fish give off, and things can kind of balance off. If you have any ideas for fast growing plants that I should put in my tank that's not duckweed, let me know. Other than that, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good one.